Encyclopedia log, top 5 heavyweight rivalries. What rivalries do I believe are the 5 best? Championship on the line or not? Heavyweight history is filled with classic wars, brimmed with multiple chapters. And we're addressing multi-man rivalries in this one too, so be on the lookout. Again, this is only my opinion, and I'd like to hear your top 5 in the comments. Let's begin. Number 5. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. BoxingPedia log, the modern day 2010s and 2020s, let's call it the Renaissance era. Is this one really a rivalry? It was pretty one-sided. The first fight was relatively competitive, but mostly a showcase where Fury outboxed Wilder. Deontay scored 2 knockdowns, but didn't do much else. The fight was scored a draw to much controversy. So Wilder retained the WBC title and Fury the lineage. The rematch was a wipeout. Fury dominated Wilder by keeping him on the back foot and slugging him. It resulted in 2 knockdowns and Fury winning every round on all cards except for one. That judge gave Deontay the second. This fight sparked controversial and perhaps comical accusations of Fury cheating to beat Wilder. I recommend you look into it. I might have to make a video on that. A third match was made mandatory, which altered heavyweight history, and it wound up being a slobber knocker for the ages. This was the most competitive of them all. Both men dished one another career-shortening damage. Fury was down twice and Wilder thrice, the third yielding the knockout. Fury didn't look as sharp as he did in the second fight, but he got the job done. Throughout their trilogy in and out of the ring, the two men put on a show. From good promos to excellent in-ring action to personality changes to fight style changes. Fury Wilder is a modern tale to behold for the heavyweights. Number 4. Floyd Patterson versus Ingemar Johansson. BoxingPedia log, the bridge between the black and white age and the up and down 1960s. The Patterson-Johansson trilogy is a tale of shock, will, and comebacks. Their first fight in 1959 closed the decade with Johansson dishing a historical 7 knockdowns in the 3rd round for the TKO. I've mistakenly said in the past that this happened in the final 30 seconds of said round when it actually transpired 30 seconds into the round. My apologies if you've seen the 50s title. Ingo was the new champion and made his first defense against Patterson in a rematch the next year. Patterson struck back with a vicious, bloody knockout and proved along the way that he could take Ingo's power. The 5th round knockout yielded a bad head bump and a twitching leg for Ingo Bingo. The rubber match was the ultimate stage for either man to emerge in history. The very first round was dynamite as Patterson was down twice before returning the favor with a knockdown near the end. They exchanged until the 6th, where Floyd finally broke through and knocked Ingo out. And so concluded a mighty trilogy between two gladiators who would ultimately become best friends until the end of their days. A wonderful tale in the saga of the heavyweight crown. Number 3. Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield. BoxingPedia log, the Silver Age 1990s. Oh, how I wish I could add Lennox Lewis to this, but Lewis and Bowe never materialized. And imagine if Tyson fought Bowe, then we could add him too. If these things happened, this may have been number 1. Anyway, in 1992, a 4-man tournament was composed for the undisputed heavyweight title held by Evander Holyfield. Lennox Lewis stopped Razor Ruddock to earn a shot at the winner of Holyfield and Bowe. Riddick Bowe, after beating the WBA's number 1 contender Pierre Kutzer, entered the Holyfield fight as the number 1 challenger in the world, but an unsure one still in the eyes of the boxing world. His stamina was questionable, as was his discipline. Evander himself wasn't seen as the true champion because of the whirlwind that was Mike Tyson's upset at the hands of Buster Douglas. Holyfield and Bowe put on one of the greatest heavyweight title bouts of all time, brimmed with action from pillar to post. The 10th round remains one of the greatest in the sport's history, with Holyfield surviving Bowe's wrath to bounce back and stun the challenger, ending the round in a punch-out standoff as neither man gave in. Holyfield would go down in the 11th but rise to finish the fight. Both men abolished the narratives around them, with Bo emerging as the people's champion and Holyfield walking away having gained the public's respect despite suffering defeat. A rematch took place a year later, now with Bo as the champion but no longer undisputed. The WBC portion of his title was given to Lennox Lewis because the two couldn't agree to terms in a fight. Holyfield came in and actually followed his game plan this time, as opposed to devolving into brawls with the bigger man. The fight was amplified in legend status by the Fan Man incident, in which a man parachuted into the ring mid-fight. This delay may have caused Bo the split decision, as Evander was once again the heavyweight champion. The two, now friends, embraced after the bout in good sportsmanship. Then came the rubber match 2 years later. Holyfield had returned from heart problems and Bo was the WBO titleist, a little regarded belt at the time. It would not be on the line. The winner of this bout would be billed the best heavyweight in the world, despite the title being splintered otherwise. Bo and Holyfield engaged in a firefight, one in which Evander didn't look like himself. That was until he dropped Bo for the first time in his career in the 6th. Bo endured a beating after rising, and Holyfield's energy spike diminished. In the 8th, a wild exchange sent Holyfield to the canvas. He answered and was immediately dropped again and waved off. Riddick, Big Daddy Bo, had won the trilogy and was the claimed best heavyweight in the world. The two friends again embraced after the bout in great sportsmanship. They put on one of boxing's best trilogies and remain good friends today. Number 2. Joe Louis versus Jersey Joe Walcott versus Ezzard Charles versus Rocky Marciano. BoxingPedia log, the black and white 1940s and 50s. From 1947 to 1954, 4 men put on a masterclass of old school boxing hard knocks. Joe Louis was the people's champion with 23 title defenses. Jersey Joe Walcott wasn't expected to do much, but he did. He dropped Louis twice and looked to have earned a decision, but Louis was given the nod. In the rematch, Louis turned back the clocks by surviving Walcott outboxing and dropping him again to win by knockout in the 11th. Louis retired, and Walcott came up short in a match for the vacant title against Ezzard Charles. Louis returned and Charles beat him to validate his being the new champion. Charles would beat Walcott again, but suffer an upset at the hands of Walcott's legendary walk-in left hook. Shortly after that, Rocky Marciano, the new kid on the block, retired Joe Louis with a vicious knockout in which the American hero went through the ropes. Walcott won the rematch against Charles, but was knocked out late against Marciano in an all-time classic. Marciano came from behind after being knocked down for the first time in his career and being outboxed to beat the champion Walcott. Marciano knocked out Jersey Joe in the first round of their rematch and went on to have 2 timeless matches against Ezzard Charles, who was thought to have been shot. Marciano won the first by decision, though it was close. The rematch saw Marciano overcome a horrible split in his nose to knock Charles out and retain the title. He would make 2 more defenses before retiring. These 4 men lit the era up, and you can watch their rivalry in detail in my video covering the 4 Kings, or you can just watch the 50s timeline, whichever you prefer. Click or tap the bubble in the top right. It'll also be at the bottom of the description. Before my number 1, here are some honorable mentions.
Smith has it for Norton. Norton says, hey, shout now. Norton, second round. Round lights up. As the ball lands again. Do it. With the combination, the thing is going to do it for him.
A left to the jaw, a right to the head, and up to the jaw, and Staley is down. Head and right hand. The best punch of the fight so far. Sonny and that time throws another one. Sonny wobbles. Sonny wobbles. Sonny out. Sonny listen and not out. He's out. The winner and the new heavyweight champion of the world is Cassius Clay. Now you boys received your instructions from the Illinois.
A left to grazing right and a...
Two jarring right hands are followed by the knockout.
A right cross on the button and Dempsey is down for...
We'll see if he's overly cautious. Oh, a straight right combination by Holyfield.
The overachieving warrior that he is.
Oh, down goes Tyson. Oh, Tyson's in trouble. Holyfield continues to dig in. A left hook to the head. He's got Tyson in trouble. Tyson's ready.
It started.
Round two, very bad for Tyson with that bad cut. Pushed away by Holyfield. What happened here?
He got bit. Well, first he had a parachute drop on him. Now he had a heavyweight binder. You know, it's funny. Mike was having his best. He bit him again.
Evander Holyfield, look out! He's pushed right here. Above us. He did it again. Mike Tyson has bit.
I got one, I think that if he take one, I got another one. I'm ready to fight. He didn't want to fight. I'm ready to fight him right now.
Number 1. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier versus George Foreman. BoxingPedia log, the golden age 1970s. Oh, how I wish I could include Ken Norton and Larry Holmes, but Frazier and Norton never fought, and Holmes didn't fight either Frazier or Foreman. In 1967, Muhammad Ali was stripped of his title and exiled for refusing to fight in the Vietnam War. Joe Frazier emerged to claim Ali's title. Ali returned and fought arguably the greatest fight of all time against Frazier in 1971's Fight of the Century. Frazier decisively won the fight, the cherry on top being him knocking Ali down in the final round. While Ali fought for a rematch, Frazier met George Foreman to open 1973 and was mercilessly destroyed in 2 rounds, behind 6 knockdowns before the stoppage. Ali and Frazier finally had a rematch, and this time Muhammad won a decision. After Foreman similarly destroyed Ken Norton, who'd also beaten Muhammad Ali, it was all but confirmed he'd do the same to Ali. Muhammad wound up shocking the world by knocking Foreman out in the 8th round to regain the heavyweight crown. It was 10 years after he'd shocked the world against Sonny Liston in similar fashion. Ali and Frazier would meet in a rubber match in which they nearly ended one another's careers in one of the most brutal bouts in history. Ali would win when Frazier's corner refused to allow him to continue. Neither man was ever the same. Frazier and Foreman would meet one more time, and Foreman once again battered Frazier for the stoppage, this time behind 2 knockdowns. I call this rivalry the rock, paper, scissors of boxing, as I see it as the best example of why playing that game never works in this sport. Frazier beat Ali, and Foreman beat Frazier, but Ali beat Foreman. On top of that, Ali rebounded to beat Frazier twice more. I'm going to make a video covering this rivalry in full down the line in similar fashion to the 4 Kings video, but in the meanwhile, you can watch my 70s timeline to watch this rivalry unfold. I'll have the rock, paper, scissors video in a bubble here and in the description after it's posted down the line. Definitely my favorite heavyweight rivalry by far. I can rewatch it unfold over and over and never get tired of it, in case you can't already tell with how much I bring it up. There's my list. Remember, it's just one man's opinion, a man who's interested in hearing your opinion. What are your top 5 heavyweight rivalries? And if you enjoyed this, my playlist of timelines is in the bubble top right of the screen and at the bottom of the description for you to enjoy the history of heavyweight boxing from the 1950s to today. Maybe we'll revisit this down the line and focus solely on one-on-one rivalries for a different perspective. subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss my uploads, and consider joining for superior benefits. This is the Charles Jackson, author of the Boxing Encyclopedia, and I will see you in my next entry. Stay frosty, keep punching, and thank you.